So it was back in here that in 2021 in November, I said I wanted to ride as much gravel as I could for as long as I could. We shortly thereafter bought a property, and this week we moved in. And as I promised to myself and Kurt wanted to do, I've been riding as much gravel as I can. This is day 3 of 3 days. So, yeah, y'all.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. Really lucky. Yeah, really lucky.
Good job, us. We survived the winter, and here we are. Like, having to do kind of a recap and look back is kind of emotionally difficult. And so, I don't know, maybe this is therapeutic for us to kind of talk through it and know that we were able to move past it. Getting out of the north is a good thing. This is beautiful. So nice to have a break. And let's be honest, it's not always a lot of fun building your own property. To be honest, it's not always glamorous. It's not always fun. And there are real feelings involved. Yeah, so I think you have those real feelings, especially that first 24 hours. It's like, did we get the wrong property?
If you go back, we've been coming up here for a couple years gravel biking, and we really enjoyed it. We'd always wanted a small modern home. We'd always wanted a place. We talked about possibly getting a cabin someday. And I think we decided to go for it. And even though it's been super stressful for the last year, a little over a year, if we hadn't done this, like, what would have we been doing? There's always going to be moments when the choice you didn't make, the direction you didn't take, will always feel like it would have been the right one because you don't know what would have happened. So you just imagine that it would have been great. And some of the thing that drove us to be looking at a cabin is, we're kind of getting bored with Minneapolis. We had done a lot of the things, a lot of the lifestyle we lead today in the city is the same lifestyle we've led for 30 years, like going out to dinner, biking urban bike routes. I think this allows us to expand ourselves and grow in ways that we wouldn't have been able to if we hadn't done this. If we hadn't done this, I don't know what we would have been doing.
We're on our way to get the U-Haul and let the next adventure begin. All right, day 1, that winter is over. This is why we did this.
And this is our first ride coming out of our own cabin, and it's been all the pain of the last 7 months. It feels worth it.
Let's keep going. Let's do this thing. It does feel like is overwhelming that we did this. Sometimes it feels like a huge mistake. But on the other hand, like, we have been urban dwellers since we graduated from college. So that's a long time, regardless of the urban place that we've lived, whether it's Des Moines or San Francisco or Denver or Minneapolis. Like, it just gets to be a lot. And I think, like everybody else, we already knew that. the pandemic just like amplified it a little bit for us. And so we were already well down this track before the pandemic, and we would have never pursued this during the pandemic if it wasn't something we had been thinking about for a long time and really wanted. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how our lives change and develop over the next months and years. Life changes, and you got to change with it. Like, holding on to who you were in the past is not productive. Creating who you want to be in the now and in the future, that's kind of fun. I'm just going to sit here, enjoy the sun, and just kind of... So in this episode, we thought this would be the perfect segue to talk about the full process. I did some of it in the last video, but we thought in this video we'd talk about kind of the full process, every step we had to go through to get to where we are here at the end of May 2023, just over a year after we saw this property and almost a year and a half after we bought it. So we'll go through all the steps, and then we'll talk about our partners in this episode because they all deserve recognition. Does that sound good?
Yep, that's good.
All right, here we go. Okay, it is May 31st, 2023, the last day of May, and our big push is over, and we are pretty much done with contractors. And then we can just have fun. We've been able to go on some bike rides, and we've had a good visit, and it feels good to be at this point. And when we look back, I think it feels amazing that we got this far. We don't know how we did it, how we pushed so hard, and I would never advise anybody to do that at all.
No, I think both of us have commented on it's kind of crazy that we pulled this off. It was beginning of April 2022 was the first time we stepped foot on this property. We didn't know anything about permitting, architects, building a house, all the things that we've had to learn and do over the last year, and it's kind of crazy that we actually pulled this off.
We've been talking about, after we got here, how overwhelming it actually is to realize what we've done the last, I guess, 6 weeks. If you look back to when we were here in April and the snow we had and the amount of contractors we had to have come through here in 6 weeks to get to where we are today, I think we both just can't believe we did it. And we're so thankful that we've had so many good partners. Without partners that we could just trust and let go and didn't have to be here to supervise, doing this from 3 hours away could have been a nightmare, but it wasn't a nightmare at all. I feel like we just had the best people working with us, and we feel really lucky for that.
No, I think we learned that if you found good people and good contractors to work with, kind of just let them do their thing. They know their business. They know sometimes the area, like they know what works here in northern Wisconsin, where you get, 6 months of winter and 6 feet of snow, and they know how house should be built up here. So letting them do their thing, letting them do their best work, really paid off, and not trying to dictate or stick to a plan that maybe we and our architect or someone else had done, because I think they just know best. I'll probably start with Sarah Delaney and the rest of the members of the Spider Lake Planning Committee that we had to work with multiple times to get the planning permits. Zoned what they call F2, so it's forestry zone. You're limited as what you can do on the land, but one of the permits we had to get was a land use exception permit. Technically this land you're supposed to use it for forestry, right? You can harvest trees off of it, but we had to get a land use exception permit to allow us to build a cabin on land that's zoned as forestry, which is permitted, right? That's a valid exception. but there's a lot of constraints on how big of a cabin and how many structures you can put on it. Because fundamentally, if you aren't doing forestry, you're supposed to be doing activities that allow you to enjoy the forest. So then we worked with Jake and Dylan from JD Excavating. They came in, excavated the driveway. They excavated the home site. They also put in the septic system, which included doing a soil test to see how our soil drained.
This is a pit that was dug maybe a month or two ago to if we could have a drain system for sewage, and we can't. We're actually doing a tank, and we're here this morning and they were just starting to dig. So we'll give you a look around. So I'm going to pan from the east side of the property where we have our very exciting septic tank across the property, and then towards the west with the lovely drive that really meets our expectations. So here's the pan. When the dirt's gone, this is essentially going to be the view out our living room window.
So here's exactly where we put the cabin. Where I'm standing right now.
Well, that's pretty dead on.
And I think it is angled like you would ask, right? A little southwest, do you think?
Yep.
Once the home site was cleared, then Hayward Concrete came in, poured the foundation walls.
We had Butterfield out here. Our well is over here.
Things like this is the well water.
And the well is in. It's exciting to see that little tiny tube set up over there so we can have drinking water. So today they are digging a trench for the well. The well was dug yesterday. So we were waiting for good news how deep they had to go, because what is it you pay by the...
Yeah, you pay by the foot.
The foot?
They estimated they'd have to go down 250 feet was what the estimate was, and they only had to go down like 158 feet. It was great news because it was quite a bit cheaper for the well than we had anticipated. Depending on X, Y, and Z, they'll either use metal pipes for your well that they'll sink down in that hole, or they use PVC. PVC is a lot cheaper in our soil, and conditions were right, so we could use PVC, which also saved us a lot of money. Then we had Andrew Rasmussen come out, and they put all the plumbing pipes, drain pipes. I believe this is the hot and cold for the faucet for the sink. This must be hot and cold for the washing machine. I'm guessing this is hot and cold for the dishwasher. These would be drains for sink and dishwasher. hot and cold, like this must be for the shower, and for the, this would be the sink. And also put in the tubes for the in-floor heating. Once all that work was done, Hayward Concrete came back and poured the floors. At that point, we had a foundation. Quite a bit of our plumbing and heating system was complete actually at that point.
And our electrician is here, thank goodness. The electrician has been here and put the boxes in for the electrical for the living room and the island in the kitchen. And Kurt will be helping the electrician out. The reason why we came up here is we had to buy the electrical box, and we are building the stand for the electrical box to go in so we can get going and get that hooked up so the electrical co-op can come out here and get us wired up so we have electricity.
Hayward Electric come out after I dug and built a pedestal for them to put the electric meter and run the electricity to. And happy birthday to me. That enabled, they did an inspection of it and got it certified, my work. That enabled Jump River Electric Cooperative to come out and to run the electrical line. After that, we had Carlson Electric back in, who actually did an amazing job. We expected, because of budget constraints, they'd only be able to do like a part of the house, but they actually ran the electrical line for almost every fixture in the house. Ryan Patchcheck and Patchcheck's Construction, they did the SIP panel install and put up all the SIP panels for us.
How awesome this afternoon light is. It's 1 p.m. November 14th or 15th. It's just streaming in here. And when we get that fireplace in.
Paul Sheet Metal and Roofing from Rice Lake came up, and through a miracle they were able to get our metal roof, ice and snow shield, and our flat roof membrane roof done. The roof, which is an episode in itself.
That's a separate episode. So, a couple crowbars, we're ripping this all out.
Again, huge thanks to Paul Machine Shop and Roofing.
We need to talk to, who do we need to call, what's the sequence of events. We have 6 weeks to get it done before we want to stay here. We had a kind of a hard stop when we wanted to stay here the first time, and it's amazing we met that timeline. It just felt overwhelming that we'd actually climbed the mountain, that we'd actually accomplished it.
Yeah. The first people back in were the Andrew Rasmussen. They installed the combination hot water heater and boiler that also heats the fluid for the in-floor heat. Finished doing all like the plumbing fixtures, so basically the cabin is completely plumbed. It's ready for sinks and dishwashers and toilets, which we actually have a working toilet now, and there's a working sink, but it's all ready to go. You're ready to be shocked.
Whoa, wow, 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 wow. Check it out. This is all new. The venting, this Galafactio, whatever that is. All the hosing. Look at this beautiful job of copper piping. Oh my. He did it. Kevin did this. We met him last time we were here. He did a really nice job. Look at all this.
I think this
is a crazy web.
I think this is the fluid.
Oh, for the radiant floor heating.
For the radiant floor heating. So this is the vent for like the washer dryer. And then those are the ones, I'm assuming this is air intake and air outlet for the boiler.
More work in the kitchen area. So they've got, for the washer and dryer hookup, they've got the plumbing lines running.
Then we had electricity in here. Once we had electricity flowing, they could actually turn on the boiler and get the heat.
Pretty exciting. Our toilet has arrived. This is our interim sink, the musty utilita that we're...
This is the vent for the sink. We also had to have Como Propane from Cable, Wisconsin come and do our propane tank set. They could only do it temporary though, so because it was too wet out here to dig. They couldn't dig the proper trench to get it trenched in. Electricity heating elements plus propane meant we could turn on the heat, which means we could have Butterfield from Hayward, Wisconsin back out to finish the well. They installed the well pressure tank and hooked up the well pump. And we actually got fresh water running. And we actually have hot and cold water running now. The water luckily tastes great.
Yeah,
I mean,
tastes good.
But yeah, it's really good. Once we had heat, water, and electricity, we had Elite Crete for...
I like it.
What?
I think it looks good.
Oh, I think it looks really good. I think. Once the floor polishing was done, we could have Stoveworks from Hayward, Wisconsin come and set the wood-burning stove. And
something fun and positive happened, and that is we purchased our wood stove. It's going to go in the middle of our window bank, and that's going to be our, I guess nature's our first TV, and the wood stove is our second TV.
Most importantly, get the chimney through the roof so we could finish the roof. It's like an amazing domino effect. You know, really what we wanted done was the roof. To do the roof, we needed the chimney. To do the chimney and put it, we had to have the floors finished. To do the floors, we had to have electricity, water, and heat. And to do electricity, water, and heat, we had to have propane and the well system completed. So it just started this great big domino effect, ultimately to get the roof. Once the chimney was in from Stoveworks, Paul Sheet Metal and Roofing from Rice Lake was able to get back out here and finish the metal roof. The side that was only ice and snow shield, they were able to finish that metal roof. which is now done and looks great. Rick Obremski from Drummond, Wisconsin, general contractor, did the siding and the soffit work.
And there's Cable Lumber, which is just like a treasure. Those people are a treasure. Bobby and Diane in particular. And without them, we wouldn't have gotten this project as far along. So I'm talking about them because they've been there behind us every step of the way. They're the ones that have a contractor list. That's how we found Elite Crete, and that's how we found Rick, our siding guy. So they've been a valuable, important resource in our journey, and we're really thankful for them.
Was Ron Poppy for the Porta Potty for all the crew. And to be honest, they do an amazing job. They're out here at least once a week pumping it, refreshing it, cleaning it, making sure that there's toilet paper stocked, hand sanitizer. They're very diligent and run a very tight ship. Yeah, so there's another contractor, another company that we're working with who's bringing a 15-yard.
I think it's TK Roll-Offs.
So I think we got it all. But I mean, it's easily 8 contractors have been out here in the last 6 weeks. We can stay here. We have hot and cold running water. We have heat. We've got wood stoves. We've got lights. You know, it's still a construction site. We still have a ways to go, but it feels really good to have gotten this far. I think it's time for happy hour.
Yeah, definitely time for happy hour.
Cheers.
Cheers. So now the goal is enjoy summer. Beat a morning like this. Incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. Very lucky.
We'll never get tired of it. Never.
Never.
It feels so good.